I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Orbit Culture.
Okay, look, this clip is when Vin found out that we were doing an Orbit Culture song next. I think it's really cute. Okay, Orbit Culture.
Wow, what? Yes. Was it Nensha?
What's Nensha?
What's the name of the song? It's an Orbit Culture song?
Yeah, but it's not Nensha.
What is it?
Open Eye.
Okay, good. I love Orbit Culture. That's a song. That's a band.
That was just really surprising and cute, your reaction.
We had that on where?
I was still recording from the end of the other review, and then I said it's Orbit Culture next, and then you got your little... you had your little endorphin rush.
I was very excited.
If only I could make you that happy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
For Charlie Top, yeah, I love Orbit Culture.
Well, that was obvious.
Because I was learning that what do you call it song? The song of the year for 2020.
There for 20.
Shadowing, the darkening, the shadowing.
Oh yeah, the shadow. Yeah, shadowing. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up with Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Yes, there are multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener.
Yep.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. And then you join a community, a club, an alliance, whatever you want to call it. And you pull your points together, and that determines what songs that we do. Or you can go Ronin style, or the Filthy Capitalist option, which is what...
or Blastroid style. He also did this.
Yeah, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. PayPal, VinandSoriMerch@gmail.com.
Links are in the description of this video.
Links are in the description. You do that 3 times, you get pushed down to the $75 rate. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull up my lyrics.
Let me not
Orbit
let
Culture
you put that.
or what now? Shadowing?
Yep. No, that's what you wish it was. This is called Open Eye.
I don't care what it is. It's Orbit Culture.
Right.
Who cares? Who cares, losers? Who cares?
Right,
I gotta get an interview with Orbit Culture. Particularly, because the singer plays guitar. So, I gotta do that.
Ready?
Hold on. Let me get my thing. Full. So badass. What a badass.
Oh my god!
I told you.
Oh, that was good.
This band.
That was really, really good.
These guys are bad as hell, bro.
Ah.
These guys are badass, bro. Holy moly. This is on the same record as
My
The
headphones
Shadowing.
slipped right off my head. That was so annoying.
This is the same
Yeah.
same record as The Shadowing. How real is that?
Wow. Very real. Very, very, very real. Pull up those lyrics. Oh, yikes. We just got a glimpse of the
Shout out to the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters white limo
Yo, that
thumbnail.
background looks badass, so I'm not gonna lie. It looks like we're like in a forest, like in an enchanted dark metal forest. So this is
You know what? When we move, maybe I could paint something on the wall behind us.
Inshallah.
Anyway. Okay. Whew. It's heavy. Heavy. Very good, very good. The the little zombie character in there.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, the night of the living dead is upon us. The midst of the mountains has surrounded my mind now, and the beacons are lit.
I believe that there's something there.
That it's something here.
Yeah, I think these guys, obviously English is not their first language. Okay, so they're gonna get some poetic license, but I believe that there's something here. I believe that it's something much too real. I believe what I feel, not what I see. I believe in the thing that's haunting me. That's interesting, because we had a discussion. This is like one of our like running conflicts, because I'm like, blah blah blah. Here is X, Y, and Z plus H, and you're like, yeah, but I feel X, Y, and A, and I'm like, raw. So like that whole, but like that doesn't. It's one of those things that I always like go back and forth on, because there are some times when you know, people call it intuition, right, where you can feel something is happening.
Yeah.
Not necessarily before it happens, or like you talk about like feeling vibes from a person or something like that, like, oh, this person has bad vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And sometimes that can be right, sometimes that can be wrong. But you know, I always use like this as an example when I'm trying to like explain what the spirit is, right? So I would say like the body reacts to physical stimuli, and the soul reacts to emotional stimuli, and then the spirit reacts to spiritual stimuli. People go, what are you talking about with spiritual stimuli? It's very hard to define.
I feel like that's the worst way you've ever said that.
That's like literally the same.
No.
I've said it the same thing over and over.
You say that the physical has extensions in the material world or something like that. Because if you say that the body reacts to physical stimuli, and that's not only true, because your soul also reacts to physical stimuli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I say is
the body has extensions into the physical world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Look at you.
usually, what do you mean, look at me?
Sometimes just the way that you sit there, like, yeah, it's like nobody is as smart as me yet.
No, there's only one person in the room.
You're wrong. you
There's
can't.
only one person in the room.
Yeah, but we have a whole bunch of people listening in on this conversation.
I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at you.
Right. Like.
Right. So I wouldn't say there's nobody, that I'm not smarter than everybody.
Well, yeah, but you're putting off those vibes. Like, okay, you can't say.
Well, I'm smarter than you.
Stop.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Physical. Would you say
what
that
I'm
the soul doesn't react to
What
what
I'm
the?
trying to say is that I'm smarter than you.
I know.
But anyway, I talk about, like, you step into a house or whatever, and you go like, ew, what's going on here? And you find out, on some burial ground, and there's spiritual whatever, which, it doesn't matter what people say they believe or don't believe, whether they're atheist, agnostic, Muslim, Christian, everybody I know has had some strange, icky feeling that they can't explain, and then later have either had some crazy experience or whatever. I've never heard a person say, "Oh no, all my experiences have been completely
explainable,
explicable in the whatever." And that doesn't necessarily prove, quote unquote, the supernatural. I'm not even sure I believe in anything supernatural as a category.
Right, I remember that.
But it does tell us that there's a whole lot about this very strange universe we find ourselves in that we don't know about. Would you say? So I'm not sure if the song is like talking about that, but like obviously the imagery, like the zombie-like imagery and things like that, is pretty interesting. What did you think the song was about, or were you just too busy going rah?
Too busy going raw. There was one line, when we come across it, I'll remember that was the one that I was like, oh.
So he says, I believe there's a thing that's haunting me, taking my world and knowing nothing's there, taking my world and nothing's real. Always hear the words of killing, knowing I'm not him. This fight have made me believe that I'm not me. Holy moly.
Right there. Where was that?
It's in the chorus.
Yeah.
Always
this fight has made me believe that I'm not me. That part was...
What about that? What did that do to or for you?
Well, just because there are certain things that you experience and you go through in your life, and some of those battles are so difficult that it changes you, or it makes you feel like you can't see who you really are anymore. And so that was kind of what it reminded me of.
I was wondering if like this is a guy who's struggling with maybe schizophrenia or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's talking about always hearing the words of killing, knowing that I'm not him. Or maybe he's a guy that's, military background. Maybe he's got some post-traumatic stress disorder, which I doubt very, very highly. But, I've had family members that have dealt with like ultra paranoia and hearing voices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that's got to be one of those like really terrible afflictions. I always ask myself, like, you had to be afflicted with something for your entire life. Like, which one would be intolerable? I don't, like, it was a weird situation because, like, sometimes they could tell that this is my mental illness, and other times they couldn't. And when the episodes were bad, they were very, very bad. Like, they were not very good. You know what I'm saying? So, I just wonder sometimes, like, I think, it's really easy to, I don't know if judge is a word, but like lose patience with people who have like that degree of mental illness because they make life in those spans of time extremely difficult. But you always kind of, and I don't feel guilty about it because I understand my own weakness in that regard. But when you look back, it's like, yeah, if it was hard for you to care for them, how hard do you think it was for them to go through it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because most of us, when we wake up and we're dealing with, if I hear a voice in the house, like, there's no question in my mind that it's a real voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I hear, and there have been a few times when, I've heard things, and I did not doubt that I heard them, and it just so happened. Okay, so there's one particular situation where there was a guy that we were working with downtown, and he had a very long criminal history, but we just baptized him. We just baptized his son, and he was really trying to turn turn over a new leaf. And but then there was this one guy in the city, and the guy was basically like a borderline like child guy. You know what I'm talking about? Like that guy. And among other things, and he so anyway, this guy that we baptized and was turning over, and the dude was a very violent guy, and
You baptized his son?
Yeah. And his son went down first. He wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Because he was so like, yes, Jesus. And so I'm sitting there talking to somebody, and then I basically, clear as day, like you, like right here, say, Vin, look at that. And I turn around, and there's Jay going off to take this guy's head off. And there was nobody around, and it was just one of those situations. But we were always in these weird situations where I'm not sure if we completely did the right thing. Well, okay, so I run up to this guy as he's about to put the screws to this guy, and I'm like, yo, John, blah, 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 blah. And he looked at me, and he was completely blacked out because he had flipped it.
He's a white guy, and he was so pale. He was greenish looking. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. He
flipped the kill switch. He was.
Oh ready, yeah, he was in another.
And like this guy wasn't like, he wasn't a talker. Like he had spent he'd been institutionalized. He spent so much time in prison. So all he knew, and that's why people didn't understand. Like that's why he was so emotional all the time. Like he'd cry a lot because like he had years and years of just reacting in violence, and then he's in this environment now where he's being told, hey, you're an image bearer of God, and blah 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 blah, and people actually
get value.
So he was a real but he didn't talk. Like he's going to kill the guy. He's going to kill him. So and the guy, I struggle with people like that. So I didn't have a lot of pity for him. I just did it because I didn't want Johnny to get in trouble. I didn't do it for the other guy. As a matter of fact, I told the other guy, because the previous week I almost got into it with somebody else for him. You know what I'm saying? So I told the guy, I'm like, this is the last time I'm helping you. This is the last time I'm saving you. So anyway, I took Johnny aside and like, but anyway, the point.
He said that to the guy that he was going to beat up. You said to the guy that was going to get beat up.
Johnny was about to go murk this guy.
And you said to the guy that he was going to murk, I'm not going to do this again.
I said, this is the last time I'm saving you, bro. Like, this is it. Because I couldn't stand the guy. I just did it because I didn't want Johnny to get in trouble.
Yeah, but this guy...
There's a police department, like, literally in the
This guy
park.
had multiple people saying that he had inappropriate contact with kids and, people underage or mentally handicapped people, stuff like that. So it was like everybody, like... universally did not like this guy.
He was universally disliked, and the last group of people that dude messed with happened to be people in our community that we had created down there, and so Johnny's got the old school mentality like, yo, these are our folks.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna go see you. So anyway, but I didn't know. See, all this was kept from me. Like I heard like little you hear things because all the time down in the city you hear so and so did this and this thing, but he didn't talk to anybody. He didn't say anything. He was just like, oh, where is he? But I didn't know what was going on. So anyway, I'm sitting here talking, and then I heard, Vin, look at that. And I turn around, nobody's there. But then when I turn around, I see Johnny about to go put the screws to this dude. So I book it down there, and I stopped it from happening. But it was funny because the guy was like, so I told the guy, I'm like, this is the last time I'm saving you. He responds to that by going to the police station, which is like completely you're not supposed to do, violate street code, but that shows you what type of guy this guy was. And everybody knows Johnny's got a record a mile long. So he goes off, and I'm like, I took Johnny, and we just got out of there. And I put him in my car, and we were ducking down the whole 9 yards. The cops were driving around and all this, and I drove him out to whatever. Like, to this moment, I don't know if I did the right thing. I'm like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? But the point is, like, I heard a voice in my head, and there's nobody. But it wasn't in my head. I heard it audibly. Say, I don't care, whatever. Say what you like. This is the same thing that happened to that guy a couple days ago in Tennessee. That explosion happened. He said he was going toward the thing before it exploded, and he heard a voice say, "Go check on." He said, "I don't care what anybody says. God told me." He goes. He turns around and he went to check on his fellow officer, and sure enough, the explosion happened. And if he would have been there, he'd have been dead. So. My point is, like, but that's only happened to me once, maybe twice in my entire life. Like, if you had a regular stream of, like, feeling, you could hear something.
Yeah, and I think that obviously
that would be so difficult.
It's different, too, because, like, in your situation, you heard, look at that, and you turn around and you look, and you see that your friend is about to put himself in a situation where he could go back to jail.
Correct.
And, like...
Or the other guy saved his life, obviously.
Yeah, well...
The Tennessee guy.
He got killed shortly after that, didn't he?
No.
Wasn't he the one that got killed?
He was the one that was giving the testimony yesterday. You probably didn't hear it. But no, he lived and his partner lived. Only one person died in that thing. It was the guy that did it.
No. I'm talking about the one where he said, Vin, look at that. And then you turned around and you saved him from getting murked. That guy, the one that you said, I'm not going to save you anymore?
Yeah.
He got killed, right?
The guy that Johnny went after ended up getting killed like a week later.
Not long after, yeah.
It's like a week later they killed him.
Yeah. So it's kind of like...
How does that relate?
Well, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you hear, hey, Vin, look at that, and you turn around and you look, and there's actually something happening. Your friend is about to put himself in a pretty bad situation.
Oh, yeah, he's
that
gonna get
that
himself
guy's
locked
about
up.
to get, possibly killed. I mean, nobody knew how that was going to turn out. But if you are hearing voices and it's not bringing about any good results, it's just bringing about more paranoia or more fear.
Right.
Like, that's
I can look at the situation and say, people can say all day, "Oh, you didn't hear anything."
Right.
I could say,
but you can see a good result
that's
from
fine,
it. Right.
But so let's just say it was a coincidence that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're just paranoid, nothing happens. Like there's nothing redemptive. There's no rhyme or reason for it other than your own paranoia. And then it's like the fact that people don't believe you increases this sort of suspicion that everybody's in on it.
Yeah.
Because it's so real, and like that to me is like that's a hard.
And if you can't,
hard thing to deal with. Man.
You can't point to a certain event. So, like, for me, postpartum always comes in all these different ways. And I'm not going to go into the detail, but there's a certain thing that's been really difficult for me with this after having Reza. And, like, one thing that keeps happening to me, and it's super scary whenever it happens, but I just keep telling myself, okay, this is just part of the hormonal changes, and it's going to be, this is going to stop in, somewhere around the 6 to 8 week mark. It should be good. And but if you don't have that, you don't have a reason for why it's happening. Like, this never happened to me before, it just started then, and then, you know what I mean? Like, but if you don't have a reason, and that's just what's happening in your head or in your mind, and you can't stop it, and you can't, oh God.
Yeah. But, you're not trapped in that world. That there's postpartum, and
that's what I'm saying.
A chemical, blah, 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 and you've been through it a couple times before, so there's a...
Yeah.
But,
there's a window, and then
it's something also that's extremely common to mom.
Right.
Whereas, schizophrenia, I wouldn't say it's common. People kind of get the idea that you hear voices, but it's almost like, I think with postpartum, and I don't know, with postpartum, it's like, oh my God, it's postpartum, it's something moms go through, prepare for it, yada, yada, yada. There's more, I think, empathy towards postpartum, whereas, schizophrenia is oh, that guy's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And, people will use, schizo, oh, this guy's he went all schiz on me, and blah, blah. It's almost as a slang. You never hear anybody go, oh, this girl went all postpartum on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just got all these social stigmas and things like that. You can hear what he's saying, when he says, I don't know where to hide to keep me alive. So, if you were dealing... I don't know if the song is about schizophrenia, but, if you were dealing with schizophrenia, you wouldn't know where to go.
It's surrounded my mind now.
Yeah, you wouldn't know... Where could you go? That's the thing. Is, if your mind is trapped, man, forget it. That's endgame.
Yeah.
You're donezo. You know what I mean? But yeah, like that whole that situation was really like there have been times when I said, "Oh, God spoke to me," blah blah blah. But it's an inner thing. It's a inexplicable type of like impression or whatever people want to call it. Like that's not I've said a bunch of times, God spoke to me here, here, and here, or like, oh, I read the Bible, God spoke to me. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a very specific situation where in the physical universe I heard, "Hey Vin, blah blah blah," and that was the situation. But that's the only time it's ever happened to me. And I've been in way more dramatic situations, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Which opens up a whole other ball of wax. And obviously, I didn't hear anything the week that guy got killed. Well, it was funny because I told the guy, I said, "This is the last time I'm protecting you." And then God said to me internally, not externally, like, who gave you the right to say that? Like, he's like, it was just one of those things where, like,
That's so funny. Whenever you tell me that story, I always picture that it was more of like when you said it to him, that it was more of like a warning to him, like, I'm not. That protection is gone, but like I thought it was like something that kind of came from God.
No,
that's so funny.
That
and then God's like,
and totally, that was completely and totally my bias and prejudice against people like him. Because the fact of the matter is, he had been accused, but that doesn't mean he was guilty.
No, we don't know that he was guilty, but I do know that he was giving cigarettes to a 12-year-old boy, because I was there for that conversation.
Yeah, that was the first conflict that I
was there for that conversation, and they were going at him.
That was the first.
And he was trying to make it look like, well, the kid asked for it, so what am I supposed to do?
When the black dude went after him and almost murdered him.
Well, why are you giving... First of all, nobody should be giving cigarettes to a 12-year-old, but why are you doing that, especially when you're already accused of having inappropriate contact with kids. Now you're making a connection with a 12-year-old.
Yeah, I know, and that was the first time we had to go in there.
And then I saw him with his head in the lap of that mentally challenged girl. Like, she was sitting with, and he had his head in her lap.
Yeah, but keep in mind, that girl had what's his face and all that shit in her phone. Like, it wasn't like, you don't remember, you know what I'm talking about? The big one? You talking about the big one? Yeah, she had Channing Tatum or whatever in her phone. Don't you remember? She had all those like pics with him all shirtless and shit. Like,
yeah, like some famous attractive guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, she had
Yes, but she was mentally challenged.
Yeah, but she did not have the mind of a 5-year-old. Like, when it came to that category, she was pretty much her age. So, but my point is, but I agree with you. I didn't want him around her. I told her not to be around him, and He didn't hang around me too much, and he was around us for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I said about four sentences to him because I couldn't stand the guy. But but I remember when I said that, and God was like, "Who gave you the right to do that?"
Is he the one that ended up getting hit in the back of the head?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
The guy died a week later. He was gone. A week later, he was gone. So I was right. That was the last time I talked to him. But
I went to the hospital.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you were telling me he was in the hospital, he was on life support, yada yada yada, and I was just like, because that was the last thing I said to him, like, I didn't want to be around him at all, because I was like, he's definitely gonna die. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, and then his sister wanted us to do some sort of memorial for him. The whole thing was just like, because I felt like I completely screwed that whole situation up. So. Yeah, which is ridiculous because I wasn't there. Because I'm sure if I was there and he got mixed up in it, I would have done something because I don't know. But I don't know. The whole situation was crazy. But the point is, like, if you're walking, my point is nobody convinced me I didn't hear anything. So it's like it would just be a crazy thing to go through. Like if you don't know where to hide because all this shit is in your head.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like. I was listening to Joe Rogan one time. They're talking about DMT and like, are the trips real? Mm-hmm. And the person said, well, what does that mean, real? Like, I really experienced it. Like, I didn't fake the experience.
Yeah.
So, of course, Rogan is saying, do these things actually have ontology, like actual existence in the universe? That's what he's asking. But the guy was saying, that really doesn't matter to the person who's experiencing this.
No, I don't think it matters to the person's experiencing it, but it is an interesting question. Like, is there another dimension that you enter because you can go there
because these
mentally?
drums unlock
Yeah.
the metaphysical.
Or is it just all... It's sitting on a tack. No wonder that...
In your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a very interesting thing, because we always talk about real or unreal. Like,
yeah,
it is real in the sense that they're truly experiencing it and they're truly hearing something. That's real. Whether the voices have ontology in the extended universe or not don't really mean much in that specific moment. But thankfully, I've got, my family member was able to go, okay, this is, he had a couple moments of clarity and he took advantage of them, and he's so much better now. But I'm like, yeah, but he's a uniquely strong person, like in the mind, coming from our family and our background. Like, you get kind of prepared for that just by having a childhood in our family.
Yeah.
What about other people who are not able to do it? So it's a freaky, it's a terrifying thing. It's something I think about sometimes, when I want to freak myself out. But
I gotta back up to that story also.
I hope it doesn't happen to you, though.
Oh God.
You'd be a disaster.
I really would. I'm not gonna say what I was about to say. Wow. But anyway, with that guy, the one that ended up getting killed a week later.
Yeah.
Like, his family was in the room, and it was really sad because, like, he was basically like a street person, like, he didn't have like anywhere to really like put his head down consistently, permanently.
Yeah.
And like, his family came in, and his family was like regular, like a regular person. I don't know how to say it without sounding really horrible.
They were not street people.
They weren't street people, and you could tell that they resented him and had hated his lifestyle and had separated from him and just didn't really have the time to connect up with him. Yeah. And then, like, they didn't expect him to be dead. And then they, he had, like, what little belongings he had there, and he had, like, a picture from them that he had kept with him. And that was, like, really difficult for them, because it was, like, he was still had that. It was just a sad thing. And so, like, I say that, not to put guilt on people, but just to say that, we don't know what tomorrow holds, and you don't know who's going to be here today and not here tomorrow. And so make amends where you can make amends, and look past the faults in others if you can. But sometimes I understand sometimes it's not possible to live peacefully with people, but if you can, do it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying with the song. Like, it's a terrifying thought to be trapped in your own head, hearing voices that you can't tell what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And then and the thing is, like you said, people are not trying to help you because people are thinking you're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Rough. They did a good job with that. The song was heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heavy as heck. What do you
Shout out to Blastroid. 10? Yeah.
9.9999999.
What would you have changed? Why wouldn't you give it a 10? What would you change?
I mean, a 10, a little bit more melody. Maybe a little bit more melody on the guitars too.
How are you going to have melody in a song like this and what it's talking about? There's no melody in that. It's terror.
Well, you asked me a question. There's the answer.
Your answer's
Vin
wrong.
out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.